Welcome to our GetKampus University podcast, where we bring you insightful conversations with inspiring individuals. Today, we are excited to have Matthew Chu, a student in the prestigious MIT Leader for Global Operations program, joining us to share his experience. Matthew's goal is to be the father of nuclear engineering in Singapore, and we will be talking about his journey to achieve that vision. He was my seniors at the National University of Singapore, where we both graduated from the engineering science program. After completing his master's in chemical engineering at NUS, he worked with Home Team Science and Technology in Singapore. Before we dive into the conversations, a quick shout out to our sponsors, only at the beginning, Get You Coffee. Check out the link in the descriptions to support our podcast and get your hands on some delicious Indonesian coffee. After this, there will be no sponsors or promotions to keep the conversation experience smooth. Without waiting, let us hear from Matthew Chu on his sharing about MIT LGO. Next questions, right? After the interview, maybe before the interview, you have to submit like GRE, right? Something like GRE.
Yes. Yeah, correct. So
Yeah.
I was lucky. I applied during 2021, where there was still no GRE or GMAT requirements. I had full waiver. So the good news for MIT is that the MBA program at MIT doesn't require it to be specifically GMAT. Some other schools do. Whereas MIT is like, if you apply for GRE, it's still fine. I would say that for people who come from Southeast Asia, in particular Singapore, you should take the GRE because it's easier, and you should be scoring near full marks because it's very people of our caliber who've gone through the technical details that we've gone through. The math section is doable, very easy. The part that may kill us is the English. So we need to do some practice on that. If I recall correctly, and don't hold my feet to the fire, I can't remember what's the score, but I would say that I remember correctly, each section is about 800 points for the GRE. You should be scoring around 780 to 790 for each section. I would say it to be reasonable, because if you score anything lower than that, it will be challenging. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe how is your preparations for the GRE?
Well, as I said, I didn't take the GRE myself because I was allowed to take a waiver during COVID. But one of the things that I did about 7 years ago when I was considering applying for PhD, I bought a Barron's textbook. It's Barron's GRE Tech Practice book. And you just keep doing the practice. Basically, you do it very Singaporean style. You just keep practicing and practicing and practicing. You will learn a lot of the words that come out. Eventually, yes.
Okay.
That's the way I practice. Yeah.
I think is the GRE so GMAT is not necessary anymore, right? I mean, like
only for MIT. Only for MIT. Other schools will still require the GMAT. So you need to check with the school whether what's their requirement. MIT basically says we don't really care. You can choose either one, you'll take it and go. Because MIT is actually, I think MIT is trying to phase out the GRE or GMAT requirement.
Yes.
No confirmation whether that's happening, but other schools still require it. So please check very carefully when you apply for the school.
Okay. Thank you, Matthew. Maybe my next question is about the financial aid. Do you know any financial aid available in MIT or like people coming from Southeast Asia?
So the LGO program gives quite a very generous fellowship. I'm getting like 50% of my education funded by them. 50% of my tuition fees paid for. For the MBA side, not so much. So the MBA side, there are scholarships for ASEAN folks, but I don't essentially I don't know the numbers, but I'm very certain that I got the most out of every one of them because mine is full 50% funded. The rest don't really have that benefit. So that's why it's quite expensive for them. But so MIT has a standing arrangement with Discover Bank in the US. So if you come for the MBA, you can take a loan to fund your education. And they pay up the full amount of the tuition fee plus some living stipend amount that's set by MIT. So there are options. But do note that when you take a loan from the bank, you have to pay back the interest. And the interest starts on the very first day the money comes right out of the account. So be careful of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically you need to pay for because it's LGO, right? You need to pay for the both programs.
Nope,
Okay,
only one. You only pay
not
for one.
only
So
one.
LGO already has an arrangement that we only need to pay $20,000 more than your average MBA
Mhm.
because we have to start in summer. But we don't pay 2 degrees. We only pay for 1 degree.
Pay
And we
for
get
one
two
degree.
degrees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is a very good deal program, but you'll be prepared to work. It is I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It is a tough program.
Tough
If you come
programs.
in, it's tough. I mean, you come from engineering science. Think of engineering science 3.0. Let's skip two. That is how tough it can be. Your workload is insane. It is not a cost for everybody. It is a cost only for those who really want those who are prepared. Like honestly, the phrase is, are you prepared for it? Don't come in and like, oh, roses and daisies, I'm gonna survive now. Yeah, nah. You are going to work. They're gonna make you earn the 2 degrees.
Okay. I think I really want to jump to the next questions, which is basically asking your experience at the programs. I think you have shared some of the uh sites about like
Mm.
how tough it is, and but maybe before that, I want to know like if do we have any websites that we can read through, or any source that we can find any financial aids available for us?
Well, for LGO, if you look at the LGO website, they do talk about fellowships and stipends. Um, MIT itself does have some financial aid office that gives some details. I know as an international, unfortunately, as an international, a lot of the fellowships are not applicable to us. Just to be very upfront, that is the sad thing. Unless the only if you want to get you want to get full aid, the only way to do that kind of full aid is to work in the research division. That means I'm doing not a dual degree, I'm doing a master's of engineering or I'm doing a PhD. Then you're funded by the professor. Then there's a different thing altogether. But if you want to get some understanding, you can search Sloan financial aid and see what comes up. They have a whole page on that. I just didn't bother to follow up because um I knew that most of them I am not applicable at that point in time. So I didn't bother to search. But you can definitely go up and take a look at them because there could be some fellowships which are applicable to people, because if many people watch a show, they're watching from all over the world. There could be some scholarships applicable to your country. So double check on
I
that.
see.
But for Singaporeans, there's none. That's all I
I
can say.
see. So, just now you mentioned people take PhD and master program together. You mean like they do PhD and masters and get funded?
Basically, in MIT, the model is if you want to do a PhD, the professor must fund your education. Same with a 2 year basic master's. That means not the LGO. So if I were to just do nothing but my nuclear engineering, my professor needs to they need to pay for my tuition fee and give me a monthly salary. So
I
I will
see.
get full coverage and without any of the downsides. But your research assistant don't expect a lot.
I
Sorry,
see.
you
I
get enough to
think
survive, but you don't live a life of luxury, but you get enough to survive.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I can imagine like the cost and everything. And maybe the plan is we just need to make sure everything is okay with our financials and try to research in the websites or anything, right?
that is very important. I can tell you that I can share my experience so far is the amount of money I spend a month that I set aside for my daily expenses, which includes groceries and food, is
Mhm.
about 1,000 to 1,200 a month. I don't always spend that amount, but I set it aside because, especially with an MBA program, you're gonna go out and network. You will
Yes.
spend time. You If you come to an MBA program and you don't go out to network, I'm
Yes.
sorry, you're just wasting your money. So you have to be prepared to go out and spend money a bit with your friends, enjoy a bit. Um, so that's why I said about 1,000 to 1,200 a month. My rent is outside campus, which is slightly more expensive than on campus, but it's a much better deal overall. My rent is about 1,300. Some people pay as high as 1,500, even possibly 2,000. So
2000.
it depends on where you want to stay. I would say that a good number to set is 1,500. Then try and find houses around that value down, because
Mm.
it is possible, but you need to stay with housemates.
Okay.
So a month I usually spend about 2,000. In total, you see 2,006, give or take. And then
2006.
that would be a very comfortable amount to just set aside. And by the way, this is in US dollars, not Singapore dollars. So take note. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. Because some people they just sometimes they worry on the financials first, then they just decide not to apply and everything. I can understand with
Mhm.
that. Um, yeah, maybe need to research a lot and find a way for this. But I can see the return of investment from this program is you have basically two degrees, right, in business and in engineering. In this case, in your case, is science, right? Master of Science,
No, engineering. I'm doing
engineering.
it doesn't matter. So MIT basically gives it as a Master of Science in general. They
Hmm.
don't have a specific Master of Engineering. But it makes, I mean, when you come from MIT, people assume you to be an engineer first because that is what the school is known for.
I see.
Mm.
Okay, maybe we jump to the last questions. My last
Sure,
question
no problem.
is just can you describe how is your day in MIT at MIT LGO with two programs? I know you're very busy, but can you share like what is exciting, how tough it is, how do you prepare for that?
Well,
Yeah.
I would say that definitely it is something that is my day starts typical. You wake up at 8:30 in the morning, try and do some exercise. I try, uh, and then you do have some work. So my personal day this semester is pretty good. Most of my classes start at 11, so I got time to actually wake up
Yeah.
before I go class. So my day would probably in the morning, especially since I'm a morning person, but I'm very productive studying at night. So I'll wake up in the morning. I'll usually take my morning off. Like I try to relax, exercise, do a bit of my own reading, play games if I want to. Then I head to class. Most of my classes end by 4 p.m. Then I'll start my work, my studying. Um, in order to maximize my time, I do a lot of meal prep on the weekend, so I don't have to cook too much on the weekday and take out time that I can use for studying. Because especially as you pointed out, it's a dual degree. There is a lot of work that comes with you. And at the end of the day, even though the MBA side is all for networking, you still need to pass the grades. Don't
Yeah.
just go in and say I'm not doing any work. You still need to pass. So you have to do homework, and that would be and then you basically worked around 11 to 12. I have been sleeping at 1 a.m. regularly because I'm in the nuclear department, which is not an easy department, but I chose it. So I just go with it. And then I sleep around 1. That's my typical day. And you talk about getting ready. There is actually a party that's happening right now towards my right where I just came from.
So
Where
random.
it's a
Okay.
it's a Southeast Asian party. So basically, you
Oh,
join all these kind of events. You can meet people, make more friends. I think that's the key thing that you need. And so yeah, that is a typical day. But that I'm underselling how much work there is for us. Um,
great.
to anyone who's interested in LGO, I would say it is definitely a program worth applying for. It's definitely a program to consider, but don't expect it to be roses and daisies. You will work, and that is the key thing. If you, I would say that don't be surprised. You want two
Don't be
degrees in two
surprised.
years, you have to work. Don't be surprised about it. Don't, and it's MIT. MIT does not suffer fools. They want to train the best, and they want to graduate the best. They're
Mm,
not gonna
yes.
let you be half. They're not gonna let you just wishy washy your way through. It is going to be training. So if you don't think you can handle that level of pressure, don't even start. I'm very cynical about it, but it's also being realistic. It
Yes.
is something you need to be prepared for because if not, you will have very bad mental health here. It can get very stressful. Remember, you're surrounded by the best people in engineering science on the planet. You're in the best engineering school. The people here are genuinely smart, and it is normal to feel as if you're dumb. To be very
Mm,
blunt, but if you're not prepared to work for it, it will eat you very fast. I'm sad to say that there really was a potential suicide this semester due to
mhm,
stress. Not from my program, thankfully, but
mhm.
you can see how it gets to people.
Yes.
So I know it's very morbid, but we need to be realistic about what
Yes.
we are expecting when you apply this program. It's not going to be easy, and you must make sure that you know what you want out of it. Don't apply just for fun because it sounds cool to have 2 degrees. I know it sounds cool, but the trade-off is you're suffering for it. And if you don't have anything to gain out of it, it is not worth your time.
I agree with you. Yes, we have to think through what is your expectations when you come to these programs, right? Especially two degrees programs. Maybe what to close this discussions, right? Do you have any tips or any statements, one sentence maybe to close these discussions and to encourage or discourage people to go to MIT LGO. Please.
Well, I would say the one statement I say is find your North Star. Once you know your North Star, then you know where to apply, what to do with your life. Because at the end of the day, applying to MIT, LGO, or even the MBA program without a North Star is honestly a waste of time. Because you are going, if you get in, but you have no idea what you do with your life, you are ending, I'm going to be very cynical, you are going to be taking a space away from someone who really could have used it. And that's being selfish at this point. Because if you're going, because there will be people coming in, going out without really having the program benefit them. So you just wasted money on your end and you've taken a space away from someone who could have benefited. So the one statement is in general is find your North Star. Once you have your North Star, everything will be much clearer. And once you have the North Star, then it's fine to fail. Because sometimes maybe that wasn't the path to make it to your North Star. Maybe there are other paths for it. I
Thank
think that
you.
is key.
Thank you so
Mhm.
much, Matthew. I think
No
the
problem,
timing is now
Dimas.
is time left is 2 minutes. Maybe I'll just end
Yeah,
these discussions. So
yes.
I think we have talked about your backgrounds, your story for the North Stars, the interview, the GRE, financial aids, and we have covered the experience at MIT LGO. And I want to say
Mhm.
thank you so much, Matthew, for your sharing for today. It's been very insightful, and thank you so much to give me to make time in your busy programs.
Mm.
Yeah,
I'm glad to help. I'm glad. I hope that it really helps other people if they want to apply because I do see more value for Southeast Asians in this program. So I do hope more apply. And yeah, if there's anything else, you can always feel free to reach out to me. I'm busy, but if you really want to, just drop me an email, drop me a WhatsApp if you can get my contact, and I'll reply as soon as I can. And if I don't reply, just drop me a line to say like, "Hi, I messaged you before," just to follow up. I'm more than happy to help.
sure. Thank you, Matthew. I'll just stop the
Thank you,
recording
Dimas.
and have a good
Yep.
day. Have a
You too.
yeah.
Thank you. Okay.